Hello everyone, my name's Brian and welcome back to Brian Takes a Second Attempt at something he's done in the past. Although, that's a little disingenuous. So, this is my Sneak and Show deck, and when I say it's my Sneak and Show deck, it's literally the one I own in paper, no proxy, 100% real cards, and I've been playing that deck all the way from when, I was still living in the States. I have the show and tells from Conspiracy, Take the Crown, Sneak Attacks. Like, this is a very similar deck to what I have in paper, even like with the additions and art and all that was. So why are we playing Legacy this week when this channel is primarily modern, and when I play other decks it's mostly a dump week where maybe 50 people watch it? The reason is there's been a banning in Legacy actually quite recently from when I'm recording this. When I'm recording this, it's actually the 8th of March. So the banning just happened a couple days ago, and I said, hey, why don't we jump into Legacy for a little bit, play a couple of one-on-one matches, see how my old Sneak and Show deck does. Now, I have been playing Legacy in paper a little bit. Anyone in the Sydney area probably knows about the Chatswood Friday Night Magic. But hey, if you're in the area, why don't you stop on by? I'm normally there most weeks. And yeah, let's just get right into the deck. We'll get into some games, see how this does online compared to my local meta, where it won me one week, and then I went even another week. So I think a lot of people are starting to catch on to my nonsense. All right, well, first off, we have our combo pieces. This is very much just a combo deck. So Show and Tell just states you can put an artifact, creature, enchantment, or land from your hand into the battlefield. Now, specifically, this does not say permanent, so you can't put a planeswalker into play. Sneak Attack, it also allows your opponent to put things into play, but here's the thing, I have Griselbrands. Hopefully my opponent doesn't. If Mirror Match, or you're in something that plays Emrakul or Reanimator, you're a little out of luck if you try Show and Tell. We also have Sneak Attack, which is our way of getting more copies of things that are going to allow us to put our big cheaty creatures into play. So Sneak Attack is a 4-mana enchantment, but also you can pay 1 red and put a creature in your hand onto the battlefield with haste, but you have to sacrifice it at the end of your turn. The thing is, you really only need 1 hit with a big old Emrakul, or 1 chance to start drawing with Griselbrands, and you're good to go. Also, you can Show and Tell in an Omniscience. So Omniscience is just play cards in your hand without paying their mana cost. And if you're so lucky to have this, what you can simply do is plop down an Emrakul's Aeon Torn for 0 mana, and you get to take an extra turn, and pretty much at that point you're going to win the game. From there, we have some permission magic. We have 4 Force of Wills. It's Legacy. Welcome to Legacy. We have 2 Spell Pierces, and a Flusterstorm in the main to try and combat our opponent's counters, because chances are this is Legacy. We're going to go up against a lot of counters. We have then cantrips. We have 3 Preordain, which is probably the weakest of the cantrips. Scry 2, then draw a card, followed by Ponder. Look at the top 3. You can choose, you put those back on top of your deck in any order. You can choose to either draw or shuffle your library. And finally, the strongest of our cantrips, Brainstorm. This is a mainstay of Legacy. So pretty much you draw 3 cards, but then you have to take 2 from your hand and put them back on your library. But the thing is, we have fetch lands. And with these fetch lands, we're able to then shuffle away the cards we no longer want. We also have an Intuition, which is a one of fun of, which simply states search your library for 3 cards. You'll notice there's no caveat where it says they have to be different named cards. You can search for 3 of the same cards, and then your opponent chooses which one goes into your hand and which ones go into the graveyard. Now, if you are going to play this deck online or in paper, I highly recommend taking Intuition out every game 2 and 3, because a lot of people are going to have Surgical Distractions, as you guys can already see on the screen, myself included. And essentially what that means is you're going to put whatever you want in your hand, and they're just going to surgical it out. We also have 4 Lotus Petals, just to make sure that we get our ramp on and try and Show and Tell off as quickly as possible. It also helps us if we got a Sneak Attack down, or we got an Omniscience down, and we're trying to find that final red to activate Sneak Attack. Not a lot of lands in this deck, only 19, but a lot of them are soul lands. So a soul land is a mana that taps for 2, or a land that taps for 2 mana, I apologize. And Ancient Tomb is probably the strongest one. It allows you to tap for 2 at the expense of 2 life, which is not really a cost when you think about it. 2 City of Traders, which have a slightly worse downside. Now, they don't hurt you when you tap them, but when you play another land, you have to sacrifice City of Traders. Of course, you need your basics when you're playing Legacy, because Wasteland is everywhere. For those of you who don't normally play Legacy, Wasteland is a land that just states tap it and destroy target land if you sacrifice Wasteland. So, yeah. your lands are going to blow up a lot in Legacy. So enough to kind of get off both our sneak attack and activate it. A smattering of fetch lands, so that's 1 Flooded Strand, 2 Polluted Delta, and 4 Scalding Tarns. And finally, 3 Volcanic Islands, because sometimes you just need to be able to fetch both colors off any of your fetches. And that's really the main. It's just combo driven. It's, hey, we have our plan. The sideboard is a little bit more reactive. So we have 1 Echoing Truth for Merit Lodge tokens, as well as go wide things like elves or anything else where we just want to make things go away. If somebody puts a Containment Priest into play, it can take care of that. There's a lot of things you could do with Echoing Truth. Arcane Artisan is essentially for mirror matches and Reanimator. It's a weird way where you loot, and then whatever you discard, if you discarded a creature, you make a token copy of that, and then you just have to make sure Arcane Artisan stays in play. But it is a good card in mirror matches and other things where they have Emrakul's and Griselbrands. Surgical Extraction. This is just graveyard hate, sort of. It's also combo hate. So if your opponent, like me, is playing a combo, you can just steal their combo pieces out of the library. Although, admittedly, this is a defensive surgical. So the way this works is your opponent targets something in your graveyard, then you target the same thing with your surgical, take the one out of the graveyard, exile that one, but then, you know what, I just can't find the rest of them. And then your opponent's surgical fizzles and you get to keep your combo pieces. 2 Abrades. These are still fine in my opinion. They can take out artifacts, so like ensnaring bridges and stuff. They can also just take out creatures if they have, the aforementioned Containment Priest or anything else that's going to stop your creatures from coming into play. Just a good base of removal. 2 Pyroclasms. So these are showing their age. I don't think this deck should be playing Pyroclasm anymore, but it's what I'm playing in paper. And until I figure out what should go in there, it's probably Fury. We're just going to keep playing the Pyroclasms. It's really good against taxes. And the other thing that was banned along with the Expressive Iteration was White Plume Adventurer. So hopefully the Pyroclasms are good because the initiative deck is more or less gone. And maybe we're going to go up against more taxes, and taxes really does take me to town. 2 Blood Moons. These are haha I win cards. People forget about these all the time, and I bring them in against people with incredibly greedy mana bases or people that are playing a lot of Karakas. If you've never seen Karakas is a legendary land where all you have to do is tap it, and then you can bounce a legendary creature back to its owner's hand. And seeing as how we cheated our creatures into play, we didn't pay for them. In fact, it's super hard to cast either of them naturally. It's just a good way to shut that down. Finally, we have our anti-spell counter things like Boseiju, who makes our instant and sorceries uncounterable if you use the mana it produces. It does dome you for 2, but hey, that's really nothing in the grand scheme of things. And a defense grid, which makes each spell cost 3 more per turn except during its controller's turn, which essentially means don't counter our stuff, please and thank you. Finally, we have 3 Grafdigger's Cages to stop things that are going through the deck, elves and all that. It also stops Reanimator, obviously. I do think that the sideboard is very out of date. We might change it as we go along, although those of you who stay with me for multiple videos tend to know I don't really do that because I'm lazy. But hey, let's go to some one-on-one matches, see what people are doing in this new meta now that Delver lost Expressive Iteration and Initiative lost White Plume Adventurers. Join me, won't you? All right, we won a die roll, which is super cool when you're playing combo. Yes, I would love to go first. Huh. So this is a trap, I think. So the thing is, it has our 2 pieces of the combo, and it also has, like, land and all that, but I don't think this actually works because it doesn't do anything until turn 3 if it does anything. So we're going to mull. I like this a little bit better, so we're going to keep this. We're going to put Emrakul to the bottom, and now we have our fast mana, and we have our counterspell if our opponent is doing something truly degenerate. With the first opening hand, we didn't have any counterspell backup. We had a Force of Will, but we didn't have a blue card to pitch to it. All right, it would appear our opponent's doing nothing, so we're just going to go get an island and pass to their end step, and then we'll brainstorm, and we'll see what we're looking for here. All right, so we can put back the Omniscience, but keep the island. So we'll draw the island, and then we'll ponder, and chances are we're just going to ponder, or punt the top 3 cards, unless we literally find our combo piece. Kind of found our combo piece. So we can't cast the combo piece next turn. It's probably fine. Famous last words, so we won't shuffle. We'll draw the mountain, and we'll just pass the turn. We still have Force of Will as counter backup. Now, our opponent probably has counter spells of their own. One thing that I do when I play this Legacy deck is I'm always of the opinion of make them have it. So you'll see me go off a lot when I only have 1 counterspell backup, or even no counterspell backup if I just don't think my opponent's going to have it. Baleful Strix, sure thing. That's slightly annoying, if I'm being honest, but so our Griselbrand really won't connect with our opponent, but it'll still draw us a bunch of cards. We're going to play at the mountain just because I don't want them to Ancient Tomb our or Wasteland or Ancient Tomb, because our opponent could be Death Shadow. It could be a lot of things right now. So here comes Big Bird for 1. Oh no, they're going to Ponder first. I mean, we've already seen quite a few basics, so obviously Blood Moon, not an amazing thing to find, but let's see what they do here. We're going to draw our last known card, which is Omniscience. So we're going to try and sneak attack. We'll fight over this, obviously. Yep, all right. So we're going to force their force, pitching Omniscience. Now, if they have 2 counters, they got us, but this is the old make them have it. Oh, no. Okay. So we have it. The problem is now we don't have that second red. So my my incredibly defensive play of making sure not to play the dual land out turn 1, which I don't recommend playing out a dual land turn 1, might come to bite us. Let's see what they do here. They might have some sort of disenchant effect. They have a Caracas, which is unfortunate. Oh, they're going to attack with Baleful Strix. So clearly they have plans. Emrakul. Well, here's the thing. We get to... We don't have to do this right now, do we? Because we can do it on our opponent's end step. I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to pass. If they go to destroy our thing now, they got us. But we're going to pass, and we're going to put the Grizzlebrand into play. It's like Esper Shadow, like Unearth. That's interesting. So we're going to put something into play on their end step. We do have the stop there, yep. And then they can bounce it with Caracas. But then we have the second chance of doing it. Here they come, that's fine. All right, so on their end step, activate Sneak Attack, put into play the Grizzlebrand. Now they can bounce it now, but that won't actually help them once their Caracas is tapped. So if you've never had an effect like this, essentially because it says at the beginning of the next end step, and we're in an end step, it's not going to die until my end step. All right, we untap, and we draw a Ponder. So we're going to activate Sneak Attack, and we're going to play Emrakul, and we're just going to go to combat. We're going to see what they do. Nope, we win that game 1. All right, so definitely we want the anti stuff, and we're even going to bring in our own Surgical as a defensive Surgical. So what do we take out? Now, you could generally nip one Emrakul and not miss it too much. You can also nip out, like, a cantrip and not worry. And like I said, you want to take out Intuition because they're going to bring in their own Surgical. So nip kind of one of everything and just play it like that. So in game 2s and 3s, you can expect, like, Containment Priests and just other things that stop you from really going at it. So we have no counter magic, 4 lands, and a fast mana. Let's try again. Well, that's infinitely worse. Okay, well, this is the best we're going to keep. So we'll give up on the Lotus Petal, and we'll even give up on the Grizzlebrand, because we have nothing to do with it right now. We have a couple lands, and we have a counter and a Surgical, so we'll see what our opponent's even doing. It might just be Esper good stuff, but we'll see what they're up to. They also kept 7, so they're in, like, a really good position. If we win on a Mold of 5, that has nothing to do with skill. That has to do with the brokenness of my deck. All right, so what do we draw? A Brainstorm. All right, so we're actually going to then just kind of hang out. If they go to Cantrip, I'll counter their Cantrip, but if they do nothing, like, we'll Brainstorm at the end of their turn. All right. I'm going to counter their Cantrip here because I'm going to hope they really wanted that. I'm also still assuming they have some sort of Wasteland going on. I saw a lot of basics. All right. I tend to counter the first Cantrip if I'm given the choice to try and, like, jam them. Oh, hey, a Grizzlebrand came back. Look at that. I don't think we want to Surgical anything quite yet, but we'll just leave it like this because we're going to Brainstorm, and then we can shuffle away the cards we don't want. Oh, okay. So as you folks can see here, they absolutely needed that Brainstorm. All right. So we actually want these cards. So we'll put back the Ponder, Sneak Attack, and we'll just draw. We draw the Sneak Attack. We'll cast Lotus Petal. Now, we could just sneak in Grizzlebrand, but I don't think we need to, because we can do this, get our other thing. We're going to wait a turn, and we're going to shuffle away the Ponder that's on top of our deck to see if we can do anything. If they just continue to be stuck and they go to discard, I'm going to feel great. All right, wonderful. So, I'm going to go for a bit of greed, and I'm going to get a Volk. And what do? They have to discard something. Discard a Swords. Well, I'm glad they don't have that. Okay, I'm going to play a Delta. I know they don't have any Brainstorms or any Flooded Strands in their hand at this point, because if they had Brainstorms, they'd be using them. But I want to check their hand. So we're going to take their Brainstorm just to give a look. Okay, so they have a counter spell. Good news is we get to get rid of this, this, and this, and this. All right. So they have a Flusterstorm they can cast, True Name, Snapcaster, and a Voidwalker. They did also bring in Containment Priest, which is a thing, but that lets us know we cannot show and tell this turn. But lucky for us, Flusterstorm is only instant and sorcery spells. So we'll do this. We'll even get another Volk, because at this point they kind of need their lands. and we'll just put directly into play our sneak attack and ship the turn. And we win the match. All right, let's go on to game 2. All right, we again won the die roll. How unusual for myself. All right, these hands are what I call traps, because you think the Lotus Petal is going to help, but it doesn't. And this is fine. We don't need all 3 of these pieces, so probably get rid of Omniscience. All right, we will start. Do we risk Brainlock or Wasteland? What do we think is more likely, Brainlock or Wasteland? Well, we'll risk the Brainlock. All right, pass to our opponent. So Brainlock, again, sorry, I play a lot of Legacies. I have no idea if you play a lot of Legacy, but Brainlock is when Thoughtseize targeting me. Well, luckily we have Brainstorm. Brainlock is when you put things on top of your deck and you have no way of shuffling them away. So, but now we might be using Brainstorm to defend our combo pieces. So here comes Brainstorm. Okay, so if we give them a chance to take Emrakul, they're just going to shuffle our deck anyway. That's unfortunate. So I think we want to try and bait them into that. So if we put back Ancient Tomb, this feels bad. Feels so bad. I think we have to actually give up on much here, a lot. Because he can't touch these. It's going to have to be one of these. If we put those 2 back, he gets rid of Sneak Attack. We draw 2 Emrakuls, nothing happens. So I guess we put the Spell Pierce and the Sneak Attack back, and we force him to shuffle the top of our deck. Because you can't May a Thoughtseize, you have to a Thoughtseize. So now we are officially in top deck mode, but we'll still have an Emrakul. So Emrakul has this wonderful ability whenever it goes into your graveyard, you get to shuffle your graveyard back into your deck. So at least we're not brain locked, but boy, Flusterstorm, would you have been helpful a minute ago. I feel like this is probably Reanimator. So in Reanimator, they have a lot of reanimation effects, but they don't have a ton of Entomb effects. So we have a Flusterstorm if they, try and get something in their graveyard. But other than that, we're in top deck mode. Ball Therapy. No, thank you. We can't pay for that. I'm beginning to think this is Storm, based on the Cabal Therapy and the Thoughtseize. So we need to draw Sneak Attack right about now. Force of Will. Well, we actually can't cast that. Not yet, at least. But we will be able to next turn by taking 4 and hard casting it. Do they fetch a blue thing? If they fetch a blue source, we're playing against Badland. Okay. I still feel like this is Storm, though, with the Cabal Therapy. I don't think they would do Young Pyromancer. Fascinating. Land Grant. To show us his hand. Yeah, this does look like some kind of Reanimator thing. Definitely a Brewish kind of thing. Faithless Looting, yeah. So it's like just Pyro. Legacy Pyro. And Buried Alive is probably going to go get Arclight Phoenixes. This is 3, right? Yeah, so he's going to put 3 Arclight Phoenixes, or it could be Vengevine. He could put 3 Vengevines in the Cabal Therapy. Yeah, we have 4 mana, not 5, so he gets to take the Emrakul. Once he takes Emrakul too, we are like just straight up out of things to do. So Emrakul goes to our bin, we shuffle it in again. We have a lot of land, and we have nothing else. At this point, we're just gathering data on what our opponent's doing. Ancient Tomb, more Ancient Tombs. All of the Ancient Tombs. All right, so pass the turn. I mean, we could just top deck an Emrakul or a Grizzlebrand. We still have enough life where it's not the worst thing in the world. Faithless Looting. Oh, we top decked a Faithless Looting. Oh, we got rid of his Buried out. Got rid of his Assassin's Trophy, too. All right, just come at me, I guess. Our opponent doesn't have counters, which is good for us, but they sure have everything else. Another Young Pyromancer. Yeah, this is just like Jund tokens. Good thing we found another Emrakul. Wouldn't want to not have one of those in our hand. So let's see. 2, 4, 6. They deal 7 a turn. So we die in 2 turns because they have like lightning bolts and stuff. Rite of Flame, sure. The Rite of Flame is not what's going to kill us. Really what we need to draw at this point is a Brainstorm. And then with our Brainstorm, find a Omniscience and a Show and Tell. So we can just play Emrakul. The problem is they have so many counters, they can even just take an Emrakul hit and it won't be a problem. So anything other than Brainstorm and we're super dead. Force of Will. Nope, that's not going to do it. Game 2. All right. So, with what we're up against, Echoing Truth is quite good. They don't have any counter spells. Definitely take out Intuition, though. Let's just always cut Intuition. Grafdigger's Cage could stop Cabal Therapy. I feel like that's a little cute, though. Blood Moon might stop him. Oh, Pyroclasm. There's your obvious answer. So, Pyroclasms. What do we take out? Take out 1 Emrakul, because obviously we had too many Emrakuls. Oh, we can take out the Flusterstorm. Actually, they had Buried Alive, so we kind of want our graveyard package if we can. What do we take out if we do that? Take out some Preordains. Just shutting down their plan is probably better than Preordain. What, Nip and Omniscience? Or just Nip a Sneak Attack, I guess. All right, and then we bring in kind of our sideboard package here. Some of this is theoretical. Some of this should be absolutely great. And yeah, let's try that. Alrighty. We could try. I mean, we have like fast mana and sneak attack and Grizzlebrand. The problem is if they just like thought sneeze us again. I mean, this time we don't have 2 Emrakul's, so at least like that won't be a thing. Our opponent mulliganed to 6 as well. So just play this out. We're gonna play the Lotus Petal out too before they rip it out of our hands. If they blow it up, then they blow it up. Swamp into Ball Therapy. We're gonna brainstorm anyway. So we're gonna put back the things we need. So we're gonna put back, I don't think he names Grizzlebrand. So we'll put back Sneak Attack, Show and Tell. And if he names Grizzlebrand, then you got us. They name Emrakul. Normally, if you Cabal in the Dark, I recommend naming, you know, not that. I would recommend Force of Will or one of the combo pieces. So what we can do now is Ancient Tomb, Show and Tell. Now, if they have an Emrakul, then they get us. I don't think they would, though. Oh, they concede. Okay. So that worked quite well. I don't think there's anything we want to change. Obviously, the Grafdigger's Cages are not as good turn on the draw, but let's just try this. Seem to work decently. All right, so we're going to keep this, and we're going to keep this because we have a Grafdigger's Cage and a Show and Tell. Even if they turn 1 hand disrupt us, which is very likely. Land Grant. Oh, they have 2 land grants, but wow. Wowie zowie. Cabal Therapy. Sure, we can't do anything about that. I would name Force of Will in this scenario. But they can name Show and Tell. Yeah. I mean, also, I was kind of expecting that last game, so they seem to have finally learned. The good news is that means Grafdigger's Cage gets to come down. Surgical the Show and Tell. Yeah, that's something that I told you was going to happen, and then it happened, and now I'm sad. So our only win at this point is Sneak Attack, as our Show and Tells are now exiled. But you can still totally win. They should be able to land grant again. I'm not sure why they're not. And we drew the Sneak Attack, that's good. We're going to Volk, and we're just going to play the Grafdigger's Cage. So now the Art-like Phoenix can't come in from the graveyard. They have 2 Red Elemental Blasts, but the problem with the Red Elemental Blasts is, I'm definitely not playing those. Alright, so we need to find 1 more mana. Soul Lands would be preferable. We're going to go ahead and brainstorm now. They can Red Elemental Blast, but we have Spell Pierce. Yep, we're even just going to get an island, just in case. Alright, Kapowie, opponent. So we'll put back Pyro, because we don't really need it. And we'll put back Sneak Attack, because we're going to want to redraw that. So now our hand is protected from Disruption. Unless they do another Surgical. If they do another Surgical, we're unfortunate. Because then they get to shuffle our library. So pretty much anything other than Surgical would be great. Oh, they're showing off more things again. Arc-Light, Red Blast, Arc-Light. They're just land granting their way to victory here. Alright, we untap. We find our Sneak Attack. Red, 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 or red, colorless, colorless. And here comes Sneak Attack. We don't have another mana, but they might just scoop, because I don't see how they get out of this. Oh, okay. Well, they're more than welcome to keep fighting the good fight. Because with a mix of having a land drop, having the red land in hand already, and just needing to find an Emrakul. Oh, here's Young Pyromancer. Sure thing, boss. Red Elemental Blast. The problem is that can only target blue things, and we don't have any blue things. This is why you have to play Pyroblast if you're playing Pyromancer, because Pyroblast can just target anything, but it only destroys it if it's blue. I forgot about the Pyroclasm. As funny as that would be, no. Here comes Grizzy Boy. We'll draw 7. We definitely know the cards in their hand, so it's totally okay to draw another 7. Because we did see a Lightning Bolt. Still haven't found the Emrakul. So we can search the deepest with a Brainstorm. Okay, we found it, so it doesn't matter what we put back now. Play this. Activate Sneak Attack. And there you go. That's what happens when you get to draw 14. And we win the match. 2-0. Let's go on to game 3. All right, so we finally lost a die roll here on the 3rd game of the night. Sure. This is, again, my Make 'em Have It hand. Really, the best thing we could be going against right now is lands. Because it takes them a couple turns to get going. And we could have a turn 2 Grizzlebrand, which would be fast enough normally. Spire of Industries. So this is probably 8 cast, which to my knowledge has Force of Will, which again is a safety valve to stop me from doing degenerate stuff. My god, that took 3 takes. Urza's Saga is fine. Oh no, it's Painter Servant. Okay, well let's see if we can find the island's probably fine. See if we can find a Force of Will. Oh, we did. Okay, awesome. So put back an Ancient Tomb because we don't need 2. Put back the mountain. I wouldn't mind drawing that. And let's actually, I'm gonna let this go. I'm gonna let this go because I want to defend myself. All right, so Ancient Tomb, and then Show and Tell. Force of Will, yep. We kind of saw this coming. Here's my Force of Will. Right. If they play the Grinding Wheel, though, they actually got... Oh, Seed of Signet. So we're fine for now. They try and play the other part of the combo. I will just draw a million cards to find my counterspell. So our opponent's going to kill us with milling. They're just making an Urza Saga token. I think I have to assume the Urza Saga lets them... You can draw, that's fine. I have to assume the Urza Saga lets them find... I can't remember the CMC of Grinding Wheel, but I have to assume it's something like that. Didn't find it. All right, one more time. Okay, so that found it. The unfortunate part is we're at 2 now. So if I pay this... And I play the Scalding Tarn, I think. Actually, I don't have to play a Scalding Tarn. I just play a land. And then we go blue, blue, whatever. Show and Tell again. Omniscience. And then play Emrakul. All right, and we go to the sideboard. Raids seem cool. I don't think they're going to have a lot of basics. They're going to be playing Artifact land. So maybe even Blood Moon. So take out Intuition. Take out an Emrakul. Take out... Sneak Attack, take out 2 Preordains. That also lets us bring in the Defense Grid. We'll try this package. I gotta be honest, guys, I don't know what I'm doing against this. I think I know what they're up to, but I've only ever played against it once, and I think it kind of went the way you saw it. I just kind of naturally had the combo super quick, but let's try this. Okay. So, no combo, but a lot of cantrips. This is what I call a hand that could be anything. We'll try it. So pretty much what you're gonna do here is you're going to... Scalding Tarn and Brainstorm turn 1. Oh, they have a Lotus Petal. Oh, they have Haywire Might. Well, I can see why they brought that in. Let's be greedy. Let's play the Valk so we don't brain lock ourselves and we don't have to waste our Ponder. All right, so they're going to be able to do all sorts of things on their turn. Another Urza Saga. Well, the beats are going to come in pretty quick. Pretty quick indeed. Painter's Servant. Okay, so their combo is a-coming. It's a-coming down the track. All right, so Brainstorm. Oh, man, we found the thing the Haywire Might can kill. Put back the 2... Actually, put back the Mountain. We don't need that right now. Put back a Grizzlebrand. We'll redraw the Grizzlebrand. Play the Scalding Tarn. Shuffle away the Mountain. Go get... Probably just an island for now. We can cast the City of Traders next turn, but we can't cast and activate. So let's Brainstorm now while we still have a chance. Whole bunch of Lotus Petals. Interesting. So put back City of Traders, put back Ancient Tomb, play our 2 Lotus Petals, get one of our soul lands back. So we don't want Blood Moon. Actually, if we could play Blood Moon at this exact moment, that'd be great, but we can't. So we want that next turn. So what we'll do is Ancient Tomb, Blood Moon, City of Traders, shuffle your library, no. Okay. If they combo next turn, they combo next turn. We're going to learn together if Grind Wheel or Milled Grindstone, whatever it is 1 mana. If it's 1 mana, they just get us. It's looking like it's just 1 mana. Is it 1 mana? Mox Opal. Okay, so it's not 1 mana. Another Urza Saga. Oh boy. This Blood Moon's looking like a treat. They do have beaters now, though, so we do have to keep one eye on that. And we're only going to get 1 activation with Sneak Attack. All right, so nothing we want to do. We want to untap, play City of Traders, and try and blow up 2 of their lands. So we know our top card. We're not doing anything else this turn, so let's try. Didn't find it, but we found the other stuff. So put that there, put Ancient Tomb back, put Show and Tell back. And they get to keep their stuff, unfortunately. If they don't combo us out, I think we should be able to deal them quite a bit next turn, though. Making a thing, then these start sacrificing themselves. And if we get the 2 creatures down, because like I put it down, I get priority again, I get to activate it. Okay. So at this exact moment, they don't have the counterspell. They will have the counterspell soon, though, because they're going to attack for a lot. And if they draw counterspell blue card, that's so sad. They draw 2, we draw our Show and Tell again. Okay. So here's the thing. We Show and Tell, if they have a Spell Pierce, we can pay for the Spell Pierce. Then we put Sneak Attack into play. We still get 1 activation. It's the Emrakul. They have to sacrifice 6 permanents. Or we just go for putting the Sneak Attack in. If they counter it, we lose. But if they don't counter it, we win. I'm just going to hope they don't have it. Don't have it. Don't have it. Don't have it, opponent. Ah, they didn't have it. Great. All right. So activate Sneak Attack. They can go to blow it up, but it doesn't matter at this point. Sure, Emrakul. And activate Sneak Attack. And we win the match. That's 3-0. Let's go for a couple more. All right, we have lost the die roll yet again. Unfortunate. Now this is particularly greedy. We do have a lot of pieces, but this is very easily wastelandable. But we're on a hot streak, and we can't possibly win them all, so we're going to go ahead and keep. But this hand, admittingly, is mid at best. Verdant Catacombs, that's also not what you want to see if you think your opponent might be playing Underground Sea. Okay. Wastelands, a ponder. Sure, you get to ponder. I don't force my opponent's cantrips, but if I have a spell pierce, I absolutely snap that off. Because as you saw in round 1, sometimes they really needed that cantrip. An Omniscience. Alright, so we play this. Ooh boy. Do we play our Preordain, or do we hold the Preordain? I'm going to hold the Preordain for a turn. I'm going to hold the Preordain, hope we top deck any land, and leave my Spell Pierce up, as well as my Force of Will if our opponent tries to do stuff. Dryad Arbor. Okay, so our opponent's on some kind of depths plan, it looks like, which is fine by us. We drew it. Oh my god, and we have so much backup too. So we'll play Lotus Petal, and there we go. It's time for Show and Tell. We play an Omniscience. Now if they play Baleful Strix, that's fine. You can draw a card. I get to play Grizzlebrand and draw all the cards. And we win the first game. I thought our opponents was on Depths. They have Dryad Arbor, so they clearly have Green Sun Zenith. It might just be a color pile. That's a problem with winning so quick. You don't actually know what your opponent's up to. I'm going to bring in the Blood Moons, because I have a theory. I'm going to take out Intuition, because we won and they saw what we were doing. What do we take out as well? Well, I don't know what my opponent's up to, so I'm just going to take out a Preordain. And just bring in the Blood Moons, maybe? I don't know. We'll just try. Maybe they're a lands deck. I'm hoping they're a lands deck. We're just going to try this, and we'll see what's up. Sure. We have 2 Show and Tell, so even if they turn 1 and disrupt us, which they haven't, they play Ponder, then they're probably going to take the Blood Moon before they take the Show and Tells, and we have multiple cantrips here to try and find the final piece to the puzzle. I have to assume, though, our opponent kept a pretty counter-heavy hand. The question is, can they counter 3 things? Well, we certainly know by turn 3 we'll be doing fun stuff. An island, Ponder. No, we don't need 4. Any order shuffle, please and thank you. Force of Will. Okay, well, now we have something we can do. But next turn, we will just kind of Preordain, play a fetch out unless we find something cool to do. No covered forest. Ponder. Beginning to think this Blood Moon ain't going to do much. Beginning to think this might have been a mistake, because they just naturally played 2 basics. Sneak attack. Well, still no help there. We will rack this for a basic. We'll Preordain. So bottom, top, and we'll just hold like this and see what our opponent's up to. So far, it's just like Sultai color nonsense. I hope you folks are enjoying my white border lands. White border is actually pretty rare online, and this is just a holdover from when I first made the deck. And I made this deck online a while ago, long before I moved to Sydney. Verdant Catacombs. Okay, go get your black source. If it's just a swamp, I'm going to be sad. Please be something where I can at least cut you off of 1 color, please. Nope. Okay. Guy is, Uro. I don't think Uro's worth countering. Yeah, it's ramp and card draw and life gain. I mean, it's everything on it. Like, that's why it's banned in Modern, but I don't think it's that important right now. Go to end step and we'll Brainstorm. We have a fetch, so we can do stuff. There's Brainstorm. We found Grizzlebrand. So we'll put the 2 Blood Moons back, because we only need 1. So this is interesting. So we play Polluted Delta. We play Lotus Petal. We get a red source, the Volk, and we just kind of go for it. Show and Tell with 1 counter backup. Do they have 2 Force of Wills in hand is the question. They have at least 1. Yeah, there's 1. Force of Will. I also have a Force of Will opponent. Question is, do you? Doesn't seem like they do. All right, we get Sneak Attack down. Ice Fang Coatl. Sure. All right, and we play Grizzle Daddy. Draw 7. We found the Lotus Petals, so now we're definitely going to risk it and draw another 7. And we found Emrakul. It's just that easy, folks. And we win the match. That is 4-0. Let's go on to one last one. So for this last one, we won the die roll. Not a perfect hand, but pretty good. We'll keep. And here's the thing that Legacy has that Modern doesn't. Legacy had a bit of rotation go on when the Horizon sets came out. It really did. But it didn't rotate as viciously. Ooh, what is our opponent doing? I don't like it. I don't like this. Oh no. Oh no, what are you doing? Emery. Sure. Is this just another 8-cast deck? Force of Will, Apocannoneer. Yeah, okay, so this is just another 8-cast / Painter deck. So Painter Servant coming back next turn. We'll Brainstorm in the meantime. Guys, I have no idea if they play Wasteland. I realize this is the second time we played against this deck. I have no idea. Sure. These are things that happened. So we'll put back the 2 Ancient Tombs, draw 1 Ancient Tomb, we'll ponder. We're going to give up on this. We drew a Preordain. I don't know, guys. I'll play Ancient Tomb. I don't know if they have Wastelands. We're kind of in a bad spot. If we draw a Show and Tell, then obviously we're in an absolutely amazing spot. But they have Metalcraft. Oh man, that was a pretty explosive start from our opponent. Haywire Might. That's his main deck. That's good to know. Haywire Might with Emery, though, is significantly scarier than just Haywire Might on its own. Also, if they find any of the baubles, because there's 8 baubles in Legacy, not 4, so they can just draw a ton of cards. Whatever they're doing, they're going off now. Oh, no. Oh, no. Unless they're just trying to push out a Kappa Cannoneer. It can't be a Kappa Cannoneer. Oh, it's just a Thoughtcast. Okay. The reason I say it can't be a Kappa Cannoneer is because if it was a Kappa Cannoneer, then they could improvise. Another Mox Opal. They're sure are doing a lot. Another Thoughtcast. Okay, so there's their draw engine now. All right. There was ever a time to draw a Show and Tell. Now is the time. Omniscience. Not what we're looking for. There's Show and Tell. So put Omniscience, Show and Tell, Island, no shuffle. Play the Island. Now, I'm going to keep up the Spell Pierce in case something weird happens. Or maybe even just to shut down one of their draws. Yep, you can get your Mox Opal back. Oh no, they're bringing back the Lotus Petal. Really, I just want them to tap out. Thought Monitor's fine. Can't do anything about Thought Monitor. Well, you saw the card we put up there. They get to see that we have it next turn. Still looking at our top card. I would have thought at this point you would have at least looked at your top card. Another Lotus Petal. Just keep getting all the Lotus Petals. Yep, comes in with the Haywire Might. They're allowed. All right, we untap. They get to draw a bunch, so they can theoretically find a force. And if they force us, they can actually pay for the Spell Pierce. But again, they have to have it first. Oh, no. So they have it. Yeah, I guess we'll make them pay. Please just forget you can pay for Spell Pierce. Please just hit no. That's a counterspell. No, they figured it out. How dare they figure it out? All right. So next card is Omniscience followed by Mountain. Actually, no, I think next card is Mountain. So the problem is it doesn't make any sense to play Mountain when they have or to play Sneak Attack when they have a Haywire Might out. So we'll get rid of one of the Omnisciences on top of our Preordain, but we are now way behind the 8-ball. I mean, to be fair, they didn't have a lot of cards in hand. There's Kappa Cannoneer. So the beats are going to start coming pretty quick, but if we can Preordain nicely, we should be able to get out of it. Oh no, we did leave the Omniscience on top. That's annoying. Ancient Tomb, Volcanic Island. So Ancient Tomb, bottom, Volcanic Island, top. Play the Volk. We're not going to play the Sneak Attack because they can just blow it up. We need to find one more red source. We find one more red source, we get to put, like, Emrakul down because we're going to take so much damage this turn that the Grizzlebrand's not going to save us. Now, I don't see them dealing 3 more damage to themselves. If they do, that's very silly of them. But they just sacrifice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then, like, Emery. And then they kill us anyway on their second attack. So this is also, like, if we draw a red source. If we don't draw a red source, we're probably pretty much just dead. Yep, here they come. Here comes Speed Racer. We're down to 4. Ancient Tomb, sure. All right, so our Ancient Tomb still taps for mana, which is nice. Ancient Tomb. All right, concede. All right, so the Blood Moons worked last time. We obviously want our Braids. Pyroclasm actually gets a good amount of their stuff too. But we'll take out that. We'll take out one of those. We'll take out... no, we kind of want that. I got some Preordains. You just do that. Yeah, that seems fine. Yeah, we'll just try that. Shrug, fingers crossed. All right, we would love to play first. We would love if this hand had some blue mana. Sure. Put back. Bulk. Done. Go right into the Ponder. Another Show and Tell. We're actually going to keep this. We're going to go Scalding Tarn, Show and Tell, Ponder. Oh, did I shuffle that? Wait a second. I chose to shuffle my library because I'm silly, but I drew an Ancient Tomb. So, oops. I clicked the wrong button again. A Blood Moon. Well, here's the thing, boys. We're probably going to eat a counter doing this, but we're going to try it. Do you have an opponent? Of course they... Oh, wow. Force of Negation. Opponent came to play. So we'll yield through the turn. Next turn, we're going to Blood Moon, and we're going to hope that slows them down enough. Now, somehow, they have an island. So that's a thing, but we kind of knew they were going to have it. Oh, man, that Urza Saga looking like a snack. Come on, boys. We could do it. There's Painter's Servant. That's fine. Painter Servant can do whatever they want. Grizzle Daddy. All right, so we'll play Scalding Tarn. We'll just go get the dually in case this gets countered. Blood Moon? Okay! We did it! Take that, Urza Saga! Alright, so we have one blue source. Oh wow, that looks cool. That looks so much nicer than what Painter Servant does to everything else. Unfortunately, they still have a lot of blue mana. They have 2 blue mana. We can play out whatever we want at this point. They're down to 1 card in hand. I have to assume their last card is a red Elemental Blast, and that's why they made everything blue. So we are in top deck mode, and our opponent is drawing 2 cards per turn. We're only drawing 1. City of Traders does us no favors, so here's our fetch. And we might just slowly die at this point, and that's what happens when you play Blood Moon. Sometimes you just die to your own Blood Moon, but here's the thing. Right now we're dying to our top decks. So don't get me wrong, our opponent with the Emery Mishra's Bauble loop draws them 2 cards per turn. They can't kill us with Urza Saga tokens, but they can just find a Kappa Cannoneer. So they're just going for the draw 2 per turn technique here. We're going for the please, please, please find something strategy. Lotus Petal does not count. All right, so now we're just trying to get to 15. Either we need 15 or we need to find the 3 other Lotus Petals. If we draw 3 Lotus Petals in the row, we just get to hardcast Grizzlebrand, I'll count that. But it looks like our luck has finally ran out, or my playstyle has finally hit the wall. I am not a sneak and show guru. Anyone who played with me at Bearded Dragon during the time where I took this literal list and this literal deck years ago, and I did not win a single match that day during our trios. So there are people who know that this deck is not all that it's meant to be, and this is an old list. Oh my god! Okay, so here we have the deck telling me we're done. It's over, Brian. You won 4 in a row. You went to the well one too many times. Icarus is currently flying too close to the sun. But I have to admit, 4-1, if it ends up being 4-1, because our opponent has 6 cards in hand and we have 2 haha spells, 2 haha hoo-hoo spells, and our opponent's getting to the point where they're just going to be able to hardcast Force of Wills. And they have Force of Wills, and they have Force of Negations. They have all the forces, you know. Who knows? They might even have a force I don't know about. They might just have a Force of Vigor. They're taking out the Blood Moon, too. They have to kill us via little chippy things, but we are going to be dead in like 4 turns. So I suppose there's not much more we can do about this. All right, so for those of you counting at home, we drew lands this game. We drew a Blood Moon, a Lotus Petal, and lands. And I wouldn't even count Lotus Petal as a non-land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 mana. Unfortunately, that mana is all red. Oh, they just get to grind us to death. Why didn't they just do that? We have officially lost, but I'll wait so they can go off. So essentially what this says is you mill 2 cards, and if the colors were the same, they get to... Oh, Grindstone is a 1-drop. Why didn't they kill us with Grindstone? I mean, if they just want to kill us with beats, I'll let them. Because now they can just kill us at instant speed. Oh, man. I'll even show my opponent my hand. That was brutal. Yep, nope. No, nowhere near the top. There was 0% chance we were winning that game, folks. All right, 4-1, let's go to the wrap-up. You know, I gotta admit, I really like that. This deck is surprisingly good, and you heard me talk a little bit about it in the match before it went off the rails and we finally lost one, but Legacy does not have as much of a rotation as Modern does. Now, obviously, if you're meta chasing, you can get bit real hard. If you're meta chasing in Legacy and you go out and you buy Delver because you're like, oh my god, it's the best deck ever, or you buy Mono White Initiative because you're like, oh my god, this is also the best deck ever, Legacy will go after their top decks. In fact, Legacy goes after their top deck all the time, but because they will never go after Force of Will, Daze, or Wasteland, you're going to see those top decks in some shape or form kind of come back. Delver always bubbles back to the top. Sometimes it takes a matter of months, sometimes it takes a matter of years, but it always bubbles back to the top. Whereas Sneak Attack here has always kind of been around as far as Legacy has been a thing. Back in the day, it was Darksteel Colossus you were putting in because that was the best creature. And then it was Blightsteel Colossus. And then Emrakul and Grizzlebrand came out and you were doing those. So Sneak Attack and Show and Tell have always kind of been part of Legacy as a whole. But yeah, this is something you can pick up and you can still play. Now, online, I can easily recommend that you play Sneak Attack. In paper, however, where are my lands? Absolutely not. Those 3 lands alone cost so much money. You know, the rest of the deck, like, there's a couple of pieces that are worth money, like Grizzlebrand's a couple dollars, yeah, Emrakul's like $15. Show and Tell, Sneak Attack, Intuition's another card that's a lot of money because it's reserve list. But it's mostly cantrips, this deck. And cantrips, while they're cool, are not terribly expensive. Like in the sideboard, it has some kind of weird stuff going on. Well, mine does. I don't know if you should play my sideboard. But I keep looking at my Sneak Attack deck, and I keep kind of thinking to myself, should I update this? You know, because people are playing Atraxa now. And Atraxa is a Grizzle brand that also gets pitches to Force, which sounds better. And it's also one of those things where Atraxa finds you the exact cards you need. Grizzle brand is just gobbling up cards as quick as it can, and it deals you damage while doing it. So you have to be a little bit careful about it. And sometimes slamming that Grizzle brand down is too late. But here's the thing. Atraxa Online is like dummy expensive right now, and I'm not buying it for a format that I have my one deck and I do piddly things with. And I'm also not buying it in paper yet, because again, it's like $50 Australian. And if you run the math, cards are a little bit more expensive in Australia than they are in America, even if you run them through the converter. But they're about $50 Australian if you can find any. I'll make a video on this later, but there are cards that are just hard to get in Australia. They're not rare. They're not expensive. You just can't buy them because nobody has them. So unless you buy them from Card Kingdom and pay double in shipping, you can't get your hands on them. But anyway, I digress. Legacy is an amazingly fun format, kept unpopular by the reserve list. But, and here's my hot take, I think the fact that it's unpopular is kind of saving it. If the reserve list came down, and I'm always a proponent for the reserve list going away, even as somebody with thousands of dollars I'm always a proponent for it going away. But if the reserve list disappeared tomorrow, Wizards would start printing things directly into Legacy, which they technically do all the time. All the Commander stuff goes into Legacy. We saw Kappa Cannoneer, twice in this video. But they never did a Horizon set. They never made a set where they were like, let's power up Legacy. Because the Horizon sets in Modern do just that. They rotate the format. They make a lot of old decks invalid. Like, when was the last time you ran into humans or you ran into merfolk in Modern? Like, those decks just don't exist anymore because they don't get to play Modern Horizons cards. Whereas all the top decks, like the Delver variant of Modern that still gets to play Ragavan, it's completely revolving around Modern Horizons cards. Whereas Legacy is still kind of going with the old cards. And that's the thing, like, sometimes I go to the Black Void, and we can do that now. Welcome to the Black Void. This is my literal Legacy deck. This is an REP gaming box. So it's literally steel. And obviously, when you have a deck that's worth this much, you want to keep it in the strongest thing possible. There's my little BTE logo. If any of you know what BTE means, how did you find me? But yeah, let's just crack her open. And you'll notice this is gonna look very familiar. Very, very, very familiar. So this is the exact list you saw. By the way, my Emrakul's are signed by Mark Teeden himself. This looks weird because of the whole green screen effect going on, but that's just a regular Flusterstorm. Yeah, it's just good old Sneak and Show. Where are my duels? Oh, fun fact about this Flooded Strand. I pulled this. And then I was like, oh man, it's a foil Flooded Strand full art. I should definitely sell it. And then I got lazy and I never did, so now it lives in here with all my other expensive cards. Speaking of which, there they are. Okay, so there's 3 of these. There's one. This is really hard to do, by the way, because I'm looking at a different screen while I'm doing it. There's another one. They're the only white border cards in the deck. They're not quite what's online, because here I have the full borders. And the last one, is the last one like the last card? Yep, it's almost the last card. There's 3. And that's my Legacy Sneak and Show deck. We'll also go over the sideboard. Why not? We're here. So as you can tell, I have my Dark Mountains. Use those in my deck. The exact same list. In fact, I am going to an in-paper Legacy event this Friday at Chatswood Good Games, who I don't mind shouting out because they're good people. And I'm going to play that exact deck. just straight up that exact deck. Because again, it does well enough where I feel like I don't need to change it. I'm so used to it. I know it's like owning the same car for 10 years. You know exactly what it's going to do and how it's going to handle. Now, it might not be the best, and I bet you it's not. But I enjoy it, and it's fun. And I hope you guys have decks like that, too. If you have a list you would like me to try out, go ahead and email me at HeyDummyPlayThis@gmail.com. That's HeyDummyPlayThis@gmail.com. I can't play everything that you guys send me. Liam, if you're watching, I know I have a backlog of things you would like to see. Boy, endurances and force and vigors are expensive, buddy. But I will get there eventually. Hopefully, maybe Who knows, someday. But if you've seen things on the channel before that I already have, I'll definitely play that if I get requests for it. As well as if I already have the pieces and I can put it together pretty easy, I'll also do that as well. Thank you guys very much for joining me on this little foray into Legacy. I will see you next time. Later.